Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to AGI Living. Today we're going to be making mashed potatoes with chicken and gravy. Real simple, but a good comfort food that you're going to enjoy. First thing that you want to do is get 2 separate pots of water. Put them on high flames to start boiling. I use 2 separate pots because when it's just one big pot with a bunch of water, it takes forever to start boiling. So we split it up so it starts to boil a little bit faster. One thing you want to make sure is that your flame is not burning the handles. So move the handles over so that way the flame isn't coming out and burning the handles up. Next thing, you want to get a whole bag of frozen chicken and pour it into a large bowl with some warm water to start to defrost or to thaw. And so since this is frozen, it's going to make this water really cold really fast. So after just a couple minutes, you want to just go ahead and add some warm water to it so that way it stays warm and the chicken continues to thaw. Okay, next you want to get your bag of potatoes, make some warm soapy water in the sink, clean this side of the sink out, and then get a big large bowl. And what we're going to do is we're going to clean the potatoes off. Call me crazy, but I like to use a little warm soapy water. And then this is the process for... I can set this up properly. You get your dirty potato, put it in the warm soapy water. You're going to use the scrubber side of the sponge. Get one end of it, get that end, flip it, get the other end. That's good enough. Put it over here. Let's do it again. Dirty potato, get your warm soapy water. One end, get that dirt off. Other end, get that dirt off. And just do that for all of the potatoes. Okay, so now we have all of the potatoes washed. Now we're just going to rinse them off with some warm water. Get all the soap off of them, and then we'll put them into our clean bowl. Now they're all rinsed off, and we will let out our soapy warm water so we can use this side of the sink. So we're going to put our bowl in the sink and fill it up with cold water with the potatoes in it. Alright, now we have our cold water in there. We're going to get our peeler, and we're going to close up this side of the sink. Now we'll go over peeling the potato. We're going to peel over the sink so that way all of our droppings fall into this side of the sink. Keep your fingers towards the bottom half of the potato so that way when you're peeling, this part, which is pretty sharp, doesn't go anywhere near your fingers. You want it going away from your fingers. Some people will hold the potato like this, and then as they're peeling, this thing is coming right for this knuckle right here, and you'll get cut. So don't do that. Hold it down here, okay? And then what I'm doing is I'm starting like a little bit lower than halfway below the potato, and I'm just gonna go ahead and peel it off. You don't want to push too hard because then you'll take some of the good potato out of there, and all you really want to get is the skin. And then you just twist it, keep going like this. Until you go all the way around the potato. Then you'll grab it and do the edge of it, the tip of it. Now, you'll look, there's little imperfections here, little spots that are still left. That's okay. We're not gonna sit here and just make sure every single spot is gone. Flip it over. Now we'll do this tip. Keeping our fingers out of the way. Twisting, peeling. Twisting, peeling. Now this is done. We're gonna put this into, let me show you, the cold water. You want this fully submerged in the cold water like that, okay? Because for some reason when these are exposed to the air for too long, then they start to turn brown. Keep it in the cold water and it won't turn brown. We're going to repeat this process for all of the potatoes. Grab a potato, peel it, put it in the water until all of the potatoes are peeled. Every once in a while, you get a potato that has like a deep, dark spot. You just want to keep trimming until it's gone. Keep trimming that dark spot until that's gone. We want the dark spots gone. Okay? Now, if you have a great daughter and a great niece, have them help you peel the potatoes and it'll go much faster. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Such great helpers. Now you go ahead and take the peels out of the sink, throw them in the trash. Now we do have a garbage disposal here on this side, but we're not sending peels down there, so we can release this once all the peels are cleaned out. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and chop up our potatoes. We want them to be a little bit smaller than this, so when we boil them, they'll boil all the way through. I have a plastic cutting board. You don't want these right here. Supposedly they cause cancer, so get yourself a wood cutting board. But what we're going to do is we're going to cut it long ways. Hands, fingers out of the way above the blade. Cut it long ways. So we have it cut like this. I'm just going to stack it and then cut it this way. Anyways, you're going to cut it into cubes. And really, you can cut a potato into cubes. So now I have 4 pieces cut, right? I still have my potato like this. I'm going to turn it this way and then just chop it. Just chop it this way. And not small chunks. Really, I'm going to cut it twice. That's it. And then you have some chunks about this size that are good. We're putting them back in the water in this bowl because remember, we don't want them to turn brown. You're going to do that for all of your potatoes. So we still need to give our water a little bit more time to start boiling, but in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and start chopping up our chicken. Hopefully you've been adding warm water to it to keep it thawed out. Well, keep it thawing, and hopefully it is thawed out now. This is very thawed out. So what we're going to do is, see how thick this is? We're going to cut it in half this way. So that way it's not so thick. And then we'll cut it into cubes. Cut it this way, cut it this way. But we don't want to eat the extra fatty parts. So things like this right here, this little fatty string, we're going to cut that off. And then otherwise, this one is pretty good. But we'll go through the chicken. If it's too thick, we'll cut it, slice it in half. If it's thin like this, we won't slice it. It's already thin enough. But we will cut off like the extra weird stuff. Anything discolored, anything fatty, we will be cutting it off. This whole thing right here will cut off. And then we'll just cut it long ways, then short ways into cubes. Now this chicken is just chicken. It's not organic, it's not cage free, it's not no hormones or antibiotics. This is chicken. But if you can get cage free, no hormones, no antibiotics chicken, then that's what you want to get, organic. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna get this is a thicker one. So I'm going to cut it long ways just like this. And then I'm going to cut this extra weird stuff off. This, I don't know what that's getting cut off. We're not eating any of that. You'll also see there's this little white line right here. See that white line? We're cutting that out. So what I'm going to do is, I wish I could just show you. I'll do it right here. Let me see. I'm going to try to do it right here, okay? So what we have is that white line. We're going to cut one side of it. This knife has gotten dull. Then I'll cut the other side of it. See how I cut both sides of it? Then I'm gonna just chop it right here and take that white thing out. I don't know what it is, but we're not eating it. All right. So then I just cut it out. Now that white line I have right here, it's not in our chicken anymore. And then these scraps and stuff, I'll just throw them off to the side. What I like to do, honestly, is use this bag. I threw the bag away. Anyways, put the scraps in the bag. And then see this right here? This big long line of fat, cutting that off. Cut all that stuff off. So what we're doing right now is 2 things. We're thinning it. If it's too thick, we're going to cut it in half because we want our pieces to be thinner. And what I do is I just hold my hand on top of it and then cut it in half. And then we have two thinner pieces like this. Cut the weird stuff off. Fatty stuff, discolored stuff. What is this? We're not eating that. We're not. What is that? We're not. No, not eating that. And then I have two decent, clean pieces of chicken that I'll cut into cubes. And then this is what we're gonna actually keep. So I'll cut it long ways. And then I'll cut it short ways. You can't really see it very well, but what I have now is a bunch of cubes of chicken. Whoa! And now the counter has them. But see, I got a bunch of just chunks of chicken. That's what we want. Put that back in the water, and then we'll go on over to our next piece. And we're just going to do that for all of the pieces of chicken until we have a bunch of chunks of chicken without the fat on them, without the discolored pieces that aren't too thick. Alright? I put the chopped chicken into a Tupperware container. That's what you should be doing. So you want to cut it, don't put it back in the water. Put it into a Tupperware container. These are the scraps that I cut off. That's trash now. And then now we have our chicken all cut up, all the weird stuff taken off, and it's ready to be seasoned. But before we season the chicken, it looks like the water is now boiling and it's ready for our potatoes. So we're going to take the potatoes and drain all of the water off. Now we want to put our potatoes into the boiling water, but if we just dump it in there, that boiling water is going to splash everywhere. So I just typically will take this and set them in there gently, so that way we don't have a bunch of splashing water everywhere. So go ahead and put your potatoes, half of them in one pot, half in the other pot. And then we have the potatoes in the boiling water, which is good. Now mind you, just a side note, we were dealing with chicken earlier, raw chicken, and if you didn't already, you should be, every time after you touch that raw chicken, you should be washing your hands. And you shouldn't be touching a bunch of different surfaces like the sink handle, the pot handle, or whatever. And after you touch this chicken, if you touch the chicken, wash your hands first before you go touching everything else, because this has a lot of bacteria. It can cause salmonella for young kids and stuff and get you sick. You don't want to spread that all over the kitchen. Okay, and so now that we have the potatoes in the water, we're going to start adding some stuff to just bring flavor into it. What this is minced garlic. We're going to add some minced garlic. Just a big spoonful should be good enough into each pot. And then what I also like to add is some chicken bouillon. Okay, we'll put a little bit of that in here, so that way while the potatoes are cooking, they're absorbing water that has some flavor. And when it comes to flavor, the foundation of flavor is just simple salt and pepper. So I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here. And some pepper. So now we have our potatoes in the boiling water. Well, it's supposed to be boiling, but it kind of stopped once I added the potatoes because the temperature cools down. But anyways, they're in there. It's seasoned and they are cooking. Now they can cook for like up to 30 minutes. But what you're going to do is just pay attention to it, wait for it to start boiling again. Then after about 15-20 minutes, we'll take a potato out and just test it to see if it's boiled. And you know, you're looking for it to be soft and chewable. How do you want your potatoes to be when it's time to eat them? Now, while we wait for those to boil, we're going to go back to our chicken. And now it's time to season our chicken. But first, see this water over here? We're going to need to get that water out of the chicken. So drain that out before we season it. Alright, so it's time to season our chicken. We're going to keep it pretty simple. There's still some water there. If you can drain more of that water out, then just make sure that you do that. Actually, what I'm gonna do is, hold on one second. I'm gonna just get a paper towel because the less water you have in here, the better. And I'm gonna put this in there because I drained it and it's still not all coming out of there, the water. So I'm putting this in there. I don't want to touch the chicken because I'm about to season it. And I'm going to touch the seasoning. So I can't touch the chicken and touch the seasoning. So I have clean hands right now. I'm not going to get them dirty with this this chicken water. Let me just try to get some more of it out of there. There's just a lot of water in there. And you really want your chicken to be dry as possible. Alright, so as you season, we are not going like this. We're going side to side, and then I'm just imagining how deep the chicken is, how much chicken is in there, and I'm seasoning just to where, like, I'm just thinking, okay, this is what's gonna taste good. That's it. So I'm putting the salt in now. Then we're going to put some onion powder. And be generous, especially with these. Not the salt so much, but even that. But be generous for sure with the onion powder. And be generous with the garlic powder. They don't have strong flavors. And for some reason, the chicken and throughout the cooking process, it's just going to absorb a lot of this seasoning anyways. And then I want to put a little bit of lemon pepper. This is just my little idea here. We'll see how this turns out. And then every time I watch someone cooking online or a recipe, they add smoked paprika. So I'm putting some in here because it just seems like everything needs some paprika. We're going to put some Italian seasoning. This is a good mix of all kinds of herbs. I don't know. I think it has, I'll tell you right now. Thyme, basil, and rosemary, and oregano. So it has all those herbs in one. And that's why I like to use the Italian seasoning. And then, of course, we'll put some pepper. So we had salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, and Italian seasoning, and lemon pepper. And we're putting it all in here. Just eyeball it and think about how much seasoning you need compared to how much meat that you have. Once you're done, you'll take some olive oil, put that on there, and then use the olive oil to mix this up. I don't want to put my hands in there, so I'm going to use a spoon. But you could always just use your hands to mix it up. So give me a second. I'm going to stir this up and I'll show you the after. Alright, so we have our chicken seasoned up and mixed up in there. Don't forget about your potatoes. They're over here boiling and stuff, as they should be. We're just going to give them a stir. We're multitasking. This one doesn't look like it's boiling, but it's hot water. So we'll see how that goes. So I moved the potatoes to this eye back here so they can continue to boil. And then I have my pan here. I put it on basically like a medium fire. And I'm going to add some olive oil in there. And then I will put half of the chicken in there. I'm just going to put it in there, half of the chicken, right? But I'm not stirring it, I'm not flipping it. I'm just putting it in there and letting it cook. So I dumped half of it in there, and I'm just spreading it out so that way it's even. So that way all the chicken is touching the bottom of the pan. None of it is stacked up on each other. It's just even. Once I have that to where everything is spread out and even, I'll spread the oil around a little bit. And then now this just has to cook. We're not flipping it because we want the part that's touching the skillet to cook and turn brown and get a little bit of a grill surface on it. The part that's not touching it is going to turn, it's going to cook as well, you know. But once we want the bottom to cook first, once that's done, then we'll flip it one time and get the other side. So just let that cook. Right now it's not sizzling how I want it to sizzle, so I'm going to increase that flame a little bit. We're going to put it at 6 and see what that gives. Okay? Get the lid and cover it up. See, I haven't turned anything over, and this chicken is already cooked. It's cooking itself, and I haven't flipped anything. So you don't have to flip. Just let that one side under there cook itself. Alright, and so I took some of that chicken out. I cut it in half to make sure that it was cooked all the way through. And it is cooked all the way through, and it's very good. So I put that chicken in some Tupperware. I put the rest of the raw chicken in here. Now I'm going to go ahead and let that cook as well. Alright, so I did the same thing that I did with the first batch of chicken with the second batch of chicken, and now all the chicken is cooked. And now that the chicken is cooked, I went ahead and I drained the potatoes, and now we just have pure potatoes in here, and they're ready to be seasoned. Before we season the potatoes, we're going to go ahead and take one onion. We're going to cut it and peel it, and then put it into the processor, and then chop it up to where it's like this. I took the skin off, of course, and then I just cut it into cubes, big cubes, and I let this cut it into smaller pieces, so that way it is fine and ready to be used for our gravy. Before we start to season the potatoes, I like to get started on the gravy. So let's use this pot, let's clean it out, and then get it ready for the gravy. So we clean this pot out, we put all the potatoes in this pot over here. We're going to use this pot now to make some gravy. First thing we're going to do is add some butter. This needs to be real butter. This is a whole like college course you need to take to figure out what butter is real butter. But I just use this Kerrygold butter. It's pure. This is unsalted, but I bought some. Oh, it's all unsalted. Alright, so we're using unsalted. Kerrygold butter is considered real butter, so we're just going to use that. I'm going to put this whole stick into the pot, and then let that start to melt. I don't know if one stick is enough or not. Just to be on the safe side. Yeah, we're gonna stick with one stick for now. Then we're gonna take the blade out of our chopped up onions, shake the blade off, and then we're gonna put the onions into the butter. And then like do a little saute situation. Alright. And then so this is what we have going on here. There's some butter in there, and there's some onions in there, and we're just gonna cook the onions until they start to like soften up and become one with the butter. Perhaps we could use a little bit more butter. I'm gonna put another stick in there. There we go. So then we're just gonna melt this butter and cook the onions. Have a decent flame under there. It's kind of low right now. I'm gonna make it higher just so we can get this stuff cooking and get the butter melted. So here we go. We have the butter melted now, and we're just cooking the onions, softening them up so they become one with the butter. Okay, and now we have the butter and the onions cooking. We're gonna add some flour to our pot. No set amount, just a good amount, like, you know, eyeballing it. That looks good. I'll show you guys as well. This is how much flour I put in there, and I'm gonna stir it up, and I'm gonna turn the heat down as well because now it's getting thick. Put this on like a low for now. Okay, now we have our thick onion, butter, and flour. We're gonna go ahead and season it. And what we're gonna season it with is onion powder, and I'm just looking at how much, if this is a pot of gravy, how much onion powder I want in there. And we're gonna add garlic powder. I'm looking at how much garlic powder I want in here. We're gonna keep it stirred up so it doesn't burn. Then we're gonna add some pepper. How much pepper do we want in here for our pot of gravy? Stir that up. Keep it on low because we don't want it burning. Okay, and that was unbleached flour that I added to that. I don't know if it is, better than regular flour. I believe it is. I think the bleaching process is not good for the flour. So you don't want that. If you can find anything that's like whole wheat, unbleached, then that's what you want to get. Okay, so now we have our seasoned onions with the butter in there, and then now we're gonna add some chicken broth. Approximately 1 cup, but what I'm doing is I'm looking at it, I'm stirring it as I add it, and I'm just thinking about, okay, what do I want this gravy consistency to be? So I'm adding some and I'm stirring it up, looking at it, saying, okay, is it thin enough? Is it still thick? And now mine is still thick. So I am still adding more broth to it. And honestly, I think this is way more than a cup, but it's all based on how thick it is as you add it. I'm gonna turn some heat on. I had turned it off. I'm gonna turn some heat on, like a medium, so it can stay warm while I'm adding this. So I'm just adding the broth to the consistency that I want the gravy to be. And right now, this is what it is. This is giving a gravy consistency. And that's what I wanted. So I'm gonna let this continue to heat up. That might be enough broth. While I let it heat back up, I'm gonna actually add some more of that. Well, I'm gonna add some of the Italian seasoning because we want a little bit of herby flavor going on in our gravy. So we'll add some Italian seasoning. Alright, so then after you add that, next you're gonna add some, what's that? Oh, here it is. Gonna add some chicken bouillon. Not too much. Good rule of thumb when you're cooking is add a small amount and then taste it and see if it needs some more. Because once there's too much in there, you can't take it out. But you can always add more if it needs more. Right now it's a little bit thicker than I want it, so I'm gonna add a little bit more broth. Once again, this is the consistency that we have now. And then I'm gonna go ahead and taste it to see if there's more seasonings, anything we need to add to it. Okay. Honestly, it's perfect just the way it is. But for me, I'm gonna add a little bit more of this chicken bouillon. And I'm gonna thin it up a little bit. And then that should be just right. This is some good gravy. And now, you know how to make gravy. Okay, so now we have everything added up. I use this spoon to taste it. I'm gonna wash this spoon off before I taste it again, because my germs are now on this spoon. And you don't want to put the germs in the pot for everybody's food. So let's taste it again. See what the gravy's giving. Oh my goodness. Add some good gravy. It's perfect just the way it is. We don't need to add anything flavor wise to that gravy. But what I'm gonna do, one time I made this and I didn't put the chicken in the gravy, and people really didn't eat the gravy. So I'm putting the chicken in the gravy. So it's all one unit. Gravy chicken. Boom. Alright, so now that we have that done, all we need to do now is finish making the potatoes. So for our mashed potatoes, I have this ranch salad dressing mix. I have 4 packages. I'm going to open the 4 packages and then put them in the those potatoes. I have to open them all the way, of course. Just put them in there. Seems like a lot, but it's not really, because this flavor is not real potent. Whoa. And you'll be just fine with those 4. Then we'll add a whole bunch of garlic powder. I mean, put it in there. Season these potatoes with the garlic powder. Boom. Then we'll add some onion powder. Same thing, season it. Season those potatoes with the onion powder. We're gonna add some chicken bouillon. Whoa, hold on. While that brand is the brand that you want, the grocery store didn't have any, so I bought some of this, but it's the same thing, chicken bouillon. We're gonna add some of that. Not too much, because that's when it has a strong flavor, and you don't want to overpower it and then not be able to take it back. So we're just gonna put a moderate amount of that. We're gonna put at least a whole stick of butter, but I'm gonna chop it up so that way it mixes well in there. At least a whole stick. Well, there's a chance we could put more, but we're gonna put at least a whole stick of butter in there. We're gonna go ahead and put a whole bag of Parmesan cheese in there, just the whole thing. You know what? Just on GP, we're gonna put another one. 2 whole bags of Parmesan. Now, most people would put some sour cream, but for me, Greek yogurt, non-fat, plain is the same. So we're gonna put a good amount of this in there as well. I put a lot in there. We're going to see if this is enough after we start stirring it up. Right now, we're going to go ahead and stir it up. I can already tell that we're going to need more of the yogurt. Yeah, I'd like to put some more yogurt. Hold on. Let me grab some. Let's put a little bit more yogurt in there. So I put more yogurt in there. We're gonna go ahead and stir this up some more. And then we kind of have it mixed now. But these are what kind of potatoes? Mashed potatoes. So we're gonna get a masher. Get a masher, this tool right here, and then we're actually gonna mash the potatoes. That's what we're doing now. We're mashing these potatoes. Now, as you can see, they're really thick right now. Not quite how we want mashed potatoes to be. So, given how thick they are, we'll add a little bit of milk. Just like that yogurt, I'm using lactose-free, fat-free milk. And some people will say, oh, you don't want to use that. We need some whole milk. We need some heavy cream. Yeah, no. This stuff is the same. These potatoes are going to be just as good with the Greek yogurt and the fat-free milk. Just as good. Now I'm mashing it. I'm going to mix it up with that spoon. Got some good potatoes over here. Believe it or not, guys, honestly, I feel like these are done. We've got some mashed potatoes right here. Boom. You can make them look nice with some like a topping, like a parsley or something on there. But I'm gonna taste them now with my clean spoon. Whoa. These are good. These are good just how they are. The flavor for me is a little strong, so I'm gonna add some more milk just to calm it down a little bit. Plus, it's kind of thick too. Add a little milk, but I mean these are really good. I mean, really good. And then I'll stir it up some more. Getting all the corners, bringing everything from the bottom and the sides up. I'm gonna wash that spoon off real quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and taste it again just to make sure it's good. These are good. Put them on low heat, warm them up more so the cheese melts, and so that way when you serve them to the people, they're warm, hot mashed potatoes. They're perfect. So we're gonna put this on low heat. Even though it's on low, you still want to stir it often so the bottom doesn't burn. We're gonna put our chicken and gravy on low heat as well, so it stays hot, stays warm, becomes one. And then the last thing we're gonna do is just make some corn. Preferably wanted some corn on the cob, but we're short on time, so I'm just gonna get some canned corn and it's whole kernel sweet corn, and I'm gonna just open this up and put it into a pot. 2 cans of this. Okay, I opened 2 cans of the sweet whole kernel corn into the pot heater, the pan. I'm just gonna add some butter to it. Let that start to melt. And then we will add, while that's melting, we're going to add some salt. And pepper. Gonna keep stirring our chicken. Keep stirring our potatoes. Make sure that you scrape the bottom, so that way whatever's on the bottom closest to the heat is not burning. We have our salt, our pepper, our butter, and our corn. We have it warming up. We'll put it on high for now just because we want it to come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, then we'll go ahead and put it down to a low simmer. Now that it's simmering, just let it simmer for a good 10-15 minutes and then it's done. Okay, this is not the best presentation. There's potatoes all over this bowl, but I'm tired and I just threw it together. Either way, I put potatoes on the bottom, the chicken and gravy, and then some corn on top. And this is your meal here. It's so good. I mean, you guys really, really are going to enjoy this. Thank you for tuning in to AJ Living. This is chicken and gravy with mashed potatoes. I hope you guys really like it and that you guys enjoy it. You have a family meal together, enjoying each other, talking to each other, fellowshipping with one another. Until the next one, guys, thank you for tuning in. Have a good one.